Yeah, I want to let everybody know where the bathrooms are. They're walking around, they're asking me. 10 seconds. I just need to make an announcement. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, everyone. You don't have to sit. You don't have to get organized yet. You can keep the chatter, keep it loud. I'm just letting you know. There are no bathrooms in this building. You stand up, you walk out the front door, stay within the gates, walk left towards the ticket booth, and then yellow signed Paul Revere will point you to the bathrooms. Have a wonderful morning.
That's good. On the side of this. It looks real bad. I'm saying. Yeah. Over here, it looks like we're like. Doesn't it? Tell me I'm wrong. It looks really bad. Sisters? Nice. When they did school. Oh, pressure. What's these things? All right.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Grandmother? That's awesome. Yeah. Sound like both of them are right away. Yeah, right? Hopefully, you can talk with her already. Oh, wait, so your dad has a. Can't take some time off before that. No, I need to read that. I'm so sorry. Not actually. No. So it wasn't.
Everyone. Hello and welcome. I'm Claire Friedman. I graduated from the cabinet and furniture making program some time ago and began teaching in that program in 2000. I transitioned from teaching to the administration as provost in 2007. And now I have the honor of serving as North Bennett Street School's interim president. Fair warning, it's likely I'll be crying. I've been to every North Bennett Street School graduation since 1994. And I can honestly say it never gets old. Seeing the proud, joyful faces of graduating students and their families, friends, instructors, and supporters, everyone gathered here in celebration of all you've accomplished is always deeply moving. This is one of those rare times when we get to pause after a year or more of pursuing your goals, your dreams, and your craft. Today, I want you to simply take in the result of all the work you've done that has brought you to this moment. Graduation is a celebration of completion, but it's also a moment of transition. From student to practitioner, from this small, intense, skilled community to a broader world, one that very much needs what you've built here. So before we talk about what's next, I'd like to reflect for a moment on what it took to get to now. You arrived at North Bennett from a wide variety of paths. Some of you had never picked up a chisel or clamp before your first day. Others had years of experience, but came seeking more refined knowledge. Some of you came straight from school, others from the military, and still others from entirely different careers. For instance, we have a former journalist, a farmer, and a pharmacy technician, among others. From walking through the workshops, machine rooms, tuning rooms, the bindery, and other working spaces both in and outside of North Bennett, I know this for certain. What you built here wasn't just furniture, walls, books, or instruments. You built confidence. Because what we do at North Bennett has always been about more than tools and techniques. Yes, we teach knowledge and skills, but we also align our head, heart, and hands in meaningful work. It's part of our educational philosophy since our very founding 145 years ago. At North Bennett, we educate the whole person, fostering good judgment, persistence, organization, adaptability, and a deeper understanding of yourself and the world around you. I've seen this firsthand in our students this year. I know more than one graduating student who before North Bennett had never sharpened a plane iron and now can sharpen well enough to plane the toughest of wood to the thinnest shaving. There's another graduating student who had never done master keying before and can now tell me how many possible key combinations there are based on 3 levels of a keying plan for an institution with 45 changes, 91,125. And I know graduating students from jewelry making and repair who came in with no experience and now can flush set multiple stones in an hour. And these are just a few of the 94 people we're celebrating today who have all learned and grown during their time here. In many ways, our programs are rooted in traditions that are centuries old, but make no mistake, this is not a static place. Like life itself, North Bennett is a place of constant change. Projects shift, skills evolve, mistakes are made and learned from. Other mistakes are made and then learned from as well. You've lived this cycle, you've built resilience, and in doing so, you've grown not just as a craftsperson, but as a person. You leave today with something more enduring than a diploma or certificate. You have knowledge, skill, and confidence, which together allow you to act with both care and purpose. These are the foundations of long-term success, not just professionally, but personally. Because building a life is not so different from building a project. You begin with a plan, but along the way you make adjustments. There are unexpected bumps and imperfect fits. You adapt, you refine, and if you listen to your materials, your clients, your collaborators, your own inner voice, you'll continue building something meaningful. Before I conclude and move on, a moment of thanks to all the families and friends and loved ones here. Thank you for supporting our students through long hours, the emotional ups and downs, and the countless cups of coffee. Your belief in them helped bring them to this moment. To our faculty, your guidance and expertise shape not just great craftspeople, but thoughtful professionals. Thank you. To our teaching assistants and staff, thank you for everything you've contributed to this year's success. To our donors, supporters, and others who have invested in our remarkable school, thank you. And let's not forget Tony Malionik, our organist today and fellow NBSS alum. Thank you for continuing this tradition so beautifully. So, class of 2025, you are ready. I know it's scary, but you are ready. Not because your education is complete, but because you've developed the mindset to keep learning. You've built the skills and the confidence to take your work into the world and to keep growing, keep refining, and keep building. Congratulations on all you've accomplished. Today you leave as graduates and as craftspeople prepared not only to do excellent work, but to live with intention. You join a community of alumni who continue to build lives and careers with care, commitment, and purpose. We're so proud of you. Proud to send you forward, so thank you. And congratulations. And now, please join me in welcoming Tom Piemonte, the chair of the board at North Bennett Street School.
Good morning, everyone. First of all, I do want to thank and acknowledge Claire for stepping up to the plate, doing a wonderful job in serving the school during this period of transition. So thank you very much. Congratulations to the class of 2025. And congratulations and thank you for everybody up here, friends, relatives, who have been so supportive of our class this year. It's an honor for me to be here on behalf of the board of directors to tell you, each and every one of you, how much we're in awe of what you've done. Reflect for just a minute on what you've accomplished, the lessons you have mastered, the obstacles you have overcome through perseverance by taking a nascent idea and making it into a beautiful reality. And your dedication to meaningful work, all of this is extraordinary. We're so fortunate to have talented instructors willing to share their impressive knowledge so that you can share it with the world. You've been trained at the best and the most prestigious school in this great country in each of the disciplines. And when you leave today, you will be among the select few who can proudly say that you are a North Bennett Street graduate. Whether you're binding a book, preserving a precious architectural work of art, securing a safe, making a musical instrument, building a home, creating a chipping mill, perfecting the pitch on a piano, or setting a stone to perfection, you are following the tradition and the excellence of those who've come before you. And your work is meaningful, it's important, and it's permanent. You have mastered a skill that can change the world, transform your community, and improve the lives of those around you. It's a great responsibility and a privilege. And you know, sometimes inspiration comes from those who tell you that won't work. No. But North Bennett is all about yes. So go out and make your mark, create your legacy, and others will notice. And on a personal note, I want to thank you, for you have shown me how important dedication to craft is, how pride in your work brings joy, and how meaningful work connects all of us, and how it preserves the best traditions of those generations before us. So when you leave North Bennett, your work will be meaningful, important, and permanent. And treasure this, because you can and should make the world a better place for others. You now have the skill, and God willing, you will enjoy that privilege for years to come. On a lighter note, I'd like to share with you that on each of your diplomas, I got the privilege of actually signing, which means when you go out and put that diploma somewhere and you have a meaningful accomplishment, a great job that you love, I feel I'm kind of honored to be there with you in spirit. So thank you for that too. So I want to congratulate each and every one of you. It's wonderful to be here. The perks of being on the board, North Bennett, is that we get the privilege, the honor to introduce the 2025 North Bennett Distinguished Alumni Award. And this year, the award goes to Dan Leviton. He's an author, an instructor, a mentor who is immensely influential in the piano technology field. His generosity, his humility, decades of dedication to his trade are well known to fellow technicians. Over the course of his nearly 50-year career, Dan has published over 40 articles in the Piano Technicians Journal, the eminent publication of the Piano Technicians Guild. Dan contributed to or was featured in many other articles in the journal and served for many years as its tuning editor. In 2008, he was awarded the Jack Greenfield Award for exceptional writing. His other contributions to the Guild include years as a prominent instructor at national conferences, regional conventions, seminars, chapter meetings across the country, as well as years of service as a certified tuning examiner. In 2021, he was inducted into the Guild's Hall of Fame. His excellence as an instructor has resulted in several international teaching experiences, one of which heavily informed the development of his book called The Craft of Piano Tuning. The book brings a fresh and engaging perspective to the science of piano tuning, and as such has become the definitive resource for the theoretical and practical knowledge of the field. Dan is a lifelong learner whose pursuit of elevating his craft and helping others lead to extensive research in the body mechanics as they relate to piano tuning. And as a result of his research, he has invented and patented a fully re-engineered tuning camera that reflects both innovation and practicality. All of these accomplishments clearly established Dan as a distinguished member of our alumni community. And perhaps more meaningful than these accolades is his character. He once navigated the streets of New York City by bicycle, applying his trade, taking equal delight in the service of instruments, great and small, old and new, run down, and precious. He remains generous with his time, serving as a mentor and a resource for technicians in the local area and far afield. And he is the type of person who is truly deserving of this honor, and he's humble about it. For all of his accomplishments and talents, we are proud to call him one of our own. So please join me in congratulating Dan Leviton, our 2025 Distinguished Alumni.
Morning. To my new fellow alums, faculty, the board, staff, and to our distinguished guests. It's an honor to be here. If I seem a bit nervous, please keep in mind that the experience of a piano technician is generally, the better you do your job, the less people notice you. So when I see everyone in this room looking at me, of course, my instinctive reaction is that something is horrible. I'm glad, though, for this opportunity to express my gratitude to you for having made me realize just how much this remarkable institution means to me and how deeply it has become a part of who I am since my own graduation with the class of 1975, nearly 100 years after our founding. Back then in 1881, the North End was filled with refugees, driven from the old world by deteriorating conditions. So many had arrived here that conditions in the North End were deteriorating too, to the point that some of the good citizens of Boston took it upon themselves to lend a helping hand. They tried various approaches, doling out charity, advocating for equality in city services, but soon began to focus on enabling North Enders to improve conditions here themselves by giving them access to knowledge. Epistemologists identify two kinds of knowledge: knowledge that and knowledge how. Our founders realized that central to their mission of helping North Enders help themselves was imparting to them knowledge how, teaching them the skills that would enable them to find steady hand. And that's how we became America's first trade school. It seems quaint today, but our founders considered part of our school's educational mission to be imparting virtues like cleanliness, orderliness, and punctuality that they believed were fundamental both to personal happiness and to strong, healthy communities. Our original building at 39 North Bennett Street happened to be next door to the place we're sitting now, the Old North Church. Famously, the church from whose spire 2 lanterns shone 250 years ago, warning the citizenry that the enemy were on the move. The lantern in our school's seal brings them to mind, but our founders would probably have thought of our lantern less as a beacon of warning than as a beacon of hope, like the lantern in the lighthouse or the Statue of Liberty's torch, a light guiding people to a safe haven. Ironically, I followed that beacon to North End looking not for knowledge how, but for knowledge that. Learning that had always been my strong suit. And since I was, as a result, pretty good at taking tests, I had been drifting more or less passively towards a life of the mind. Then, halfway through college, I had met someone who had graduated the year before from our piano technology program. At that point, the piano was an important part of my life, so I was captivated by the notion of learning more about it. And what better way, I thought, than to take a year off and go to that school on North Bennett Street. Arrived in the North End, I discovered that learning about pianos and piano technology was easy. All you had to do was pay attention to Bill Garlick's lessons and read every book in the library. Most of our time, though, was spent learning how to work on pianos, which I discovered wasn't quite so easy. That felt, that glue, those strings, those unisons, they just wouldn't behave the way I wanted them to. The results were plain for anyone to see. My damper felts weren't cleanly cut. My glue got into places it didn't belong. My tuning pin coils weren't tight. My unisons unstable. However, I was coming into close daily contact with people for whom those things were. Those were the ones among us whose strong suit was learning how. My work improved considerably when I began to use my hands and the implements in them, like those people were instinctively using theirs, not just as tools to manipulate the things we were working with, but also as sensors, to learn about the nature of those things enough to get them to behave by allowing them to behave the way they wanted to behave. Of course, none of us, not even Bill, knew everything there was to know about the world we were working in. Even for him, failure was always possible and usually unpredictable. Now, I doubt that Bill considered instilling virtues in his students to be part of his mission in training us in piano. However, the fundamentally unknowable and therefore capriciously arbitrary nature of the work we were doing was every day doing just that. It was encouraging us to be humble, to forgive both ourselves and others, and to react to inevitable setbacks with a sense of humor. To learn, in other words, some of the virtues that are fundamental both to personal happiness and to building strong and healthy communities. Okay, here comes the part of my speech in which I fulfill my contractual obligation to give our new crop of grads a bit of advice. In my 50 years of living a life of the hand, I have observed that the people who are most likely to become masters of my craft aren't necessarily the ones who naturally love the work. The ones who, because their strong suit is learning how, are kept at their benches by the pleasure they take in the act of shaping their materials with their hands and tools. Instead, it's the ones who are driven by a different kind of emotion, closer to hate, a kind of irritation, born of the frustration that things aren't the way they're supposed to be, that impels them to return to their benches over and over again until they can't improve their work anymore. I learned early on that no such instinctive impulse drove my field. I could force myself to return again and again to the bench, but only so many times. There were, though, aspects of my craft that I found myself returning to over and over again, irritated that they weren't the way they were supposed to be, until I had managed to improve them to the extent I was able. Those aspects of my craft were the gaps in our understanding. The satisfaction I felt when I found a way to close one of those gaps was rewarding in a qualitatively deeper way than the satisfaction I felt when I had finished working on a piano, especially once I had found a way to articulate my thoughts so that I could share what I had done with my colleagues. From a financial standpoint, it wasn't the best use of my time. However, because I had found a way to advance my craft that gave me deep satisfaction, I now have an abiding love for it. My advice to you today, then, isn't standard advice to do work that you love. Instead, it's to notice an aspect of your work that you are compelled to improve. The feeling of satisfaction you'll get when you succeed at doing that will keep you coming back for more, so that you'll get better and better at what you're doing. And that will make you love it. I'll close now by observing that the world you're entering as you leave North Bennett Street today is very different from the one my class entered 50 years ago, the dawn of the information age. As all of us are now spending increasingly more time in virtual worlds, untethered from the implacable reality of the real world, it's becoming clear that those worlds, as currently constructed, are encouraging us to be not humble, but vain, not to forgive, but to take umbrage and revenge, to react to inevitable setbacks, not with the kind of laughter that recognizes the fundamental absurdity of the human condition, but with the kind of laughter that dominates and diminishes others through ridicule. In a word, conditions are deteriorating rapidly. The enemy are on the move. We see the consequences every day in the steady stream of refugees from this toxic online environment who arrive at North Bennett Street searching for a way to live that nourishes rather than degrades their essential humanity. In that sense, the lantern on our steel is still a beacon of hope, guiding people to a safe haven. However, I have come to think of our lantern in another way as well, as a lamp in a medieval monastery whose monks are preserving knowledge that for future generations by laboriously copying books by hand. That's not because monks are in the habit of taking vows of poverty. Though in a world awash in cash seems to have no sensible origin, you may sometimes feel that in choosing to practice a craft, you too have taken a vow of poverty. Rather, it's because by transmitting the knowledge out of traditional crafts to our students, we are bringing them into contact with the world in the most direct way possible. And in that way, preserving for future generations a way of being in the world that encourages the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. We're so fortunate and proud to have you in our community. The award is well deserved. Each year, as part of graduation, we look for a commencement speaker who can help us see the wider world our work fits into. Someone who embodies values like service, community, and meaningful work. This year, I'm so pleased to introduce Corey J. Allen, a leader, educator, and advocate who brings those very qualities to his work every day. Corey is the inaugural Director of Industry Partnerships at the Boston Plan for Excellence. In that role, he builds bridges between education and career, helping students across Boston see pathways into meaningful work. His work is about building futures. This feels very familiar to us at North Bennett, because that's what we do too, just with different tools. Corey helps students understand their potential and equips them to realize it through real-world connections, learning opportunities, and confidence-building experiences. Before Boston Plan for Excellence, Corey led workforce development efforts at the Urban League of Eastern Massachusetts, and he's had a hand in shaping initiatives across the city that focus on access and opportunity. He understands what it means to serve others by helping them build, not just a job, but a career, not just skills, but belief in themselves. That mindset of growth and service is exactly what we hope our graduates carry forward. I can't think of a better person to reflect with you on that, what it means to build a life, to navigate transition, and to carry your knowledge and skills with confidence and purpose. Please join me in welcoming our 2025 commencement speaker, Corey J. Allen.
On North Bennett Street School, soon-to-be graduates, friends, family, current students, board, faculty, staff, and honored guests. In my brief remarks, I'll be sharing quotes from religious as well as secular sources. I'm a deeply spiritual, and I'm not here to convert anyone, but seeing as we are here in this historical house of prayer, I shall reference relevant themes and hope that you take them as I intend to understand better who I am, where I'm from, and how I have seen the world thus far. From everyone who has been given much, much will be demanded. From the one who has been entrusted with much, much more will be asked. Luke 12:48. I stand before you today as a journey person of sorts. I've been many things in my life, but ultimately, I have been of service to mankind in my own small way. I've been a camp counselor, a youth organizer, landscaping entrepreneur, journalist, an executive director, English teacher, candidate for state representative, copy editor, dean of discipline, community liaison. In all these positions, I'd like to think I made the world a little better. The concept of doing my part was born from me asking my dad why Amelia Frances Hodges Harris, affectionately known as Grandma Harris, had a different last name from us. My dad explained to me that he was a foster child and that Grandma and Grandpa Harris, born Philip Harris Sr., took him and 21 other children into their home at 33 Wambeck Street in Roxbury, because for one reason or another, their families weren't able to give them the care that they needed. Grandpa Harris was a custodian for the Strawberry Corporation at the intersections of Mount Cass Boulevard and Harrison Avenue for about 35 years. I wore an outfit today that I think my grandfather would have worn something close to during his time. Grandma Harris, one of the first ostomy patients in the world, was tended to the family home while she was not in the hospital or traveling around the world, giving testimony as a cancer survivor and a trailblazer in the life-saving healthcare technology. Now I'll share with each of you from the specialties that you all have been trained in and how they have played a part in my life and my understanding of the world. Locksmithing and security technology. My people will abide in a peaceful habitation, in secure dwellings, and in quiet residences. Isaiah 32:18. When I was 10, I played in the Regan Youth Baseball League out of Jamaica Plain. One day after practice, I went to work with my dad as he had left early to coach us. At that time, he worked for Gillette on the 48th floor of the Prudential Tower. He started with Gillette a month before I was born in South Boston on the factory floor, but worked his way into the glass tower. First thing that struck me walking through the concourse is that my dad was greeting the trades workers and security guards on our way to the food court. I asked him how he knew all of these people. That's when he explained to me that his father worked as a custodian and to ensure that his mom, sisters, brothers all had a roof over their head. All of these people, he said, represented my grandfather. So my dad showed them the same respect he would show his own father. Once we saluted the security guard and walked past the tower security desk, my dad used his badge to activate the elevator and upon exiting to enter his office space. I was fascinated by the concept of digital security, the key card granting us access to otherwise unreachable destinations. That's when I became intrigued by the fine trade of locksmithing and security technology. Some of you will be installing an alarm system for a store owner who works long hours to support their family. Some will open a safe that has not seen daylight for decades, but contains family heirlooms and secrets that will surely bring someone to tears. Keep that MBSS pride in all of your works. Bookbinding. Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom. With all that getting, get understanding. Proverbs 4:7. I attended the James J. Chittick Elementary School in Mattapan. Before I enrolled, my mom volunteered in the library. While she was reading the students, I would be off looking at picture books, trying to sound out words that were beyond my comprehension. I remember the feeling of flipping those pages, hoping one day to know all of these things the book held. My love for knowledge and literature are two of the big reasons that I became an English teacher. One of my favorite books to teach was Their Eyes Are Watching God. It was during that unit that I had a breakthrough moment with a former student of mine, Ramon Guerrero. He was a proud, wise young man. Surely the new English intern would not best him. One day mid-fall, Ramon wanted to bend the classroom rules and use his headphones while working on an assignment. He said if he couldn't use them, he would leave the class. I told him, have a good day. As the other 21 students who were working on seeking help, and I could not go over with him why he could not use the headphones. In short, on the day Ramon was not in class because he was on a field trip, I got in the hot water with the Boston Public Schools Superintendent Mary Skipper, then Principal Skipper, for allowing students to use their headphones. Fast forward to the spring, and I began to use the student-teacher model that Paulo Freire discusses in his book, Pedagogy of the Oppressed, where students should be led to pursue subject master and be able to teach each other as well as learn from their teachers. I modeled reading chapters ahead of time, finding vocabulary words, key concepts, and potential test and quiz questions for the first 2 semesters. In early spring, I assigned students a rotating opportunity to lead the class for a day. Some of them were shy, but Ramon held court in his first presentation. He found me during a break from teaching and requested to lead the class again before everyone else even had a turn. It was a proud moment for me, working with him through hard times to becoming one of the best students that I ever had. Those of you that have taken up bookbinding, you will mend the 19th century rare book that needs some TLC. Package a world where new war babies will see pictures and words together for the first time. An elementary student will write their first book report, and the next generation's Ramon or Ramona will go to their teacher with a book you bound in hand and profess their love for literature and desire to be a better student. Woodworking, preservation carpentry, cabinet and furniture making, and carpentry. Every moment I shape my destiny with a chisel. I am the carpenter of my own soul. Rumi. Although my dad received his MBA from Suffolk University, he learned from the Harris School of Woodworking on Wambeck Street how to be a carpenter. Later, he would buy books and be an avid viewer of This Old House and New Yankee Workshop on Boston's channels 2 and 44. In the day of old, where one TV was a luxury, our floor model in the living room was it for us. My brothers and I would often lay on the floor or sit next to our dad and watch these pre-trendy DIY television shows. And wherever we could, work with my dad on his projects around the house, where we decided to take on a job making furniture or a desk for a coworker or one of their family members, we would tag along and help as much as we could. Those were some of the best days of my life. For those of you set to walk across the stage with your hammer, chisel, lathe, and saw, whether you're creating a chair that will be rested upon to nurse a baby in the year 2325, or replacing a worn banister leading up to a grand landing in an 18th century Georgian home, making a cabinet that will hold the family's fine crystal set in its 5th generation, in a brand new home that was built by one of the classmates of yours, know that your work you will be doing in the coming years will pay homage to our past, provide a respite for the present, and in the future will be revered for the craft work and love that you put into it. Piano technology, violin making, and repair. Where words fail, music speaks. Hans Christian Andersen. One of my favorite leisure activities is going to see live musical shows. Plays as a treat in the symphony. Whenever I get the opportunity and it fits within my budget, I'd like to go places where I know strings will be pulled and keys will be tapped. Free shows are even better because of how much joy I get, whether on the subway, coming out of Fenway, or on the commons of a local town. I still put something in the till. It is my sincere hope that those of you graduating from the piano technology and violin making and repair program realize that the words that people will be unable to find for the next 500 years, the instruments that you will manufacture, refurbish, repair, and preserve will be used to communicate those unspoken words and know that the world will be a better place because of it. Jewelry making and repair. Give not that which is holy unto dogs, neither cast ye your pearls before swine, lest they trample them under their feet and turn again and rend you. Matthew 7:6. I love jewelry, even though the most I wear is a watch. I enjoy seeing how people choose to portray their feelings using their jewelry. One of my favorite examples is Margaret Thatcher, who based on her mood and the tone of the meeting, would wear a brooch that would for sure set how she was going to join. In that same vein, vintage jewelry that has been passed down through a family or sold through various channels needs to be properly cleaned and maintained, repaired so that these pieces can maintain their form, shape, and function for years to come. Whether you're commissioned to create new pieces or you'll be repairing or restoring historical pieces, the way that people express themselves or pass down wealth will be in your hands. As you are set to cross the stage, remember the days and nights you spent here at North Bennett Street School, and think of the generations that your creations and projects will impact, and give your clients the best possible outcome. In conclusion, the late great Keith Love, my first boss in education and former Marine, who took me under his wing when earning my one-year master's degree in education, became difficult, had a ton of sayings, but my favorite is what I leave with you. Respect the individual, respect the process, and deliver what you promise. In your respective fields, you are all of service to mankind. You will make the world a better place. You will create and mend and tune and mentor. But in your chosen path through the nation's first trade school, you too will change this world. Congratulations on your graduation and enjoy this next chapter on your journey.
Hello, everyone. I'm Nathan Moni. I'm the academic administrator here at North Bennett Street School. I'm also a graduate of both basic and advanced piano technology. As the printed program reminds us, finishing the requirements for graduation at North Bennett Street School takes hard work, commitment, and dedication. Today, we gather to honor the extraordinary achievements of the class of 2025. To begin, I'll invite the instructors of each program to come forward. Graduates, when I call your name, come down the center aisle, make your way across the platform, and use the outside aisle to return to your seat. Before we start, I want to draw your attention to a couple of special details. The diploma covers that all the graduates will be receiving were bound by the bookbinding program. The table holding the diplomas this year was made by cabinet and furniture making student, soon to be graduate, John Heffred. Let's begin. Please welcome bookbinding instructors, Jeff Altepeter and Martha Kearsley. Their teaching assistant, Jackie Martin, couldn't be with us today. Graduating today in bookbinding, Yara Buxbaum. Sandra Haynes. Sandra Haynes. Laura Craigle. Ash Munez. Stephanie Sieverding. Suhedi Soto. Annie Yujufufa. Please welcome jewelry making and repair instructors, Tracy Jenkins Dargy, Haley Philemon, and teaching assistant Evan Sear. Graduating today in jewelry making and repair, Riley Freitas. Caitlin Gosi. Hannah Guerin. Bailey David Napoli. Gigi Su. Please welcome violin making and repair instructor, Roman Varnas. Graduating today in violin making and repair, Antoinetta Angelova. Ed Augustin. James Lawrence Gilbert. Emmeline Nguyen. Eric Rodriguez. Next is locksmithing and security technology. Instructor Eddie Dacius. Teaching assistant Christian Law. Regrettably, Eddie could not be here with us today. Graduating today in locksmithing and security technology, Christopher Coyne. Samuel Clifford Diggins. Asa and Tony Jones. Peter John Kirk. Philip Wen. Michael Rakow. Please welcome carpentry instructors, Peter Smith, Brock Kleindecker, and teaching assistant Lori Van. Graduating today in carpentry, Ivan Abarca Torres. Aiden Bridwell. Carlos Bricius. Michael Calvert. Daniel Carey. Anthony Koba. John Daly. Peter Delrose. Catherine Shirley Formicola. Derek Goldfeder. Adam Hicks. Lily Keats. Jordan A. Kuntz. Damon Lawson. Virginia Leary. Robert C. McNamara. Giovanni Pierre. Malachi J. Pierre. Grace Ponce. Joaquin Price. Joseph Scanora. Brian J. Shannon. Angel Jamal Stallings. Alexandra Gabriela Vogel. Philip Walsh. Please welcome piano technology instructors, Emily Townsend, Debbie Sear, William Cobb-Roper, Hillary York, and teaching assistant Harrison Applegate Glitch. Graduating today from basic piano technology, Will Borchert. Meridian. Yuja Du. Morgan Hazel Elliott. Jeremy Logue Feinberg. Matthew Flickner. Christopher Kudula. Isaac Grunfeld. James Hunter. Adam James Lorson. Andrea Kate Nodder. Joel Frederick Payton. Domenico Aiello Quincy. Patrick Valentine. Kara May Binchoff. Graduating today from advanced piano technology, Fletcher Christian Calderbank. Jacob Conrad. Daniel Keeble Lev. Rory McNeil. Evan Michaels. Paulina Sanchez Moreno. Lillian Marie Segura. John Yor. Please welcome cabinet and furniture making instructors Jamie Pope, Ellen Casperin, Nick Moraldo, Lance Patterson, Matt Wada, and teaching assistant Juliana Head. Graduating today in cabinet and furniture making, Maura Alverson. Johanna Louise Abrams. Jonathan Clark. Deanna, the frog culprit, Cohen. Jane Davis. Isaac Diaz. Andrew Erickson. John C. Hebert. Caroline Knight. Denise Palco. Arnaldo Politansky. Alana Schwartz. Robert Solomon. Please welcome preservation carpentry instructors Stephen O'Shaughnessy, Michael Berry, Tom Eldridge, and teaching assistant Sophie Linnell. Graduating today from preservation carpentry, Chase Allen. Luke Kodiak Perini Benedict. Gavin Briggs. Brent McFarland. Matthew Murphy. Jeffrey Nagengast. Gabriela Parlapiano. Cedric Valdemar Polly. Helen Sandy. Matthew Wallach.
Okay, I'll be crying for sure. Thank you, Nathan, for announcing all of our graduates, now your fellow alumni. I know you're all eager to be done here today, whether it's to get started on your next project or just to get started on lunch. I promise I'll be quick. I can guarantee I am definitely gonna cry. I seem to do that every year. That's what happens at graduation. Why would today be different? I'm not sharing my own words now, but I'm sharing the closing remarks given every year by my predecessor, Walter McDonald, who is right there. His remarks when I graduated long ago, and I've been to every graduation since. I always cried, even when I didn't know anybody. Just to hear his words again, I always thought of them as my annual pep talk, and they've continued to inspire me over the years, and I hope they inspire you. We may be almost finished here, but it's far from over. There's a lot more to do. There will be mistakes from which you will learn. There will be customers you hope never to see again. New methods, equipment, and materials will change the way you work. You will get better and faster. If you don't get it right, you have a chance to do it better the next time. There will be wonderful customers for whom you will do work over your entire career, and they will recommend you to their friends. And they will become your friends because of your work. There will be a time when you finish a job, look at it, and realize that just a short time ago you could not have done it, and you would not have even known where to start. And you will realize how far you've come. That's always it. So in closing, may your tools stay sharp. May your work be scheduled a year in advance. May your customers always be satisfied, pay in a timely manner and without argument. You have skills and knowledge that few people share. You can use these skills to make life better for others, and you can be justifiably proud of jobs well done. So now we're finished here. It's time for you to go out there and do great work. Thank you and congratulations.